Hey guys, Creator Mom. So I watched the final episode of um, Monsters Season 2, Erik and Lyle Menendez, and the way the show leaves you feeling about the case is just, you almost feel like things could have gone either way. Like they actually could have been making up everything. But it's interesting because the whole first half of the show they're showing you they're acting out everything according to Lyle and Eric's story, and it's very convincing, and you're fully committed to Erik and Lyle in the first half of the show. You're just like, wow, like, this is just a show. I don't know, I have never read any real life books about them or watched any real information. This is just a Netflix show, so that's based off, yeah. So the first whole half of the show, you're dedicated to these people. You're fully empathic towards them and what they went through, and you're like, yeah, if things went down like that, like that's an excusable thing or whatever. Not, kind of. The show talks about the abuse excuse thing, and I'm just like, that's triggering, because if you're just gonna call everything the abuse excuse, and you're basically invalidating it completely, you can't do that either, Maybe people get upset that that's used too much, and they're like, well, all of us were abused, so who cares? And we didn't go kill people, and hey, look, everyone is different, right? Everyone's different. Everyone's brain is, different, and everyone's level of abuse is different. So, there's a lot of factors. It varies. It's a spectrum. So, yeah, it's not an excuse, but if we start calling it the abuse excuse, then we completely invalidate it all. So yeah, by the end of the show has you kind of like towards the end, they kind of have you, switched over, kind of maybe empathizing with the parents, like, oh, maybe they weren't so bad, or what really was going on here. And by the end of the show, I don't know about you, but I'm left with the idea of like, well, I really don't know, because it could have went either way, or maybe they weren't that bad, or both ways. It just like leaves you kind of like in the middle somewhere, and realizing that you'll never know the truth because you were not there. Basically, you're only given the stories. You're given people's accounts. Then, with that up against the defense, the state attorney's story, and how they use the evidence that they have to create a story. It's all creating stories, it's all about who can create the most appealing, convincing story based off facts or whatever, based off some types of evidence. Who can create the best stories based off these pieces of evidence? Which is it seems like a fascinating part of being a lawyer. If you're a good storyteller, you know how to put together a good narrative. You're good at convincing people, or having people see what you're talking about, drawing in a crowd. Probably be really good at being a lawyer. And in the show, the state's attorney, he was very convincing. Like, he put together a good, pretty good story, I think. He claimed that Erik and Lyle got a lot of their abuse stories matched up with the stories in this book. I don't know how that really matters in the grand scheme of things, because it didn't seem like he proved that they had the book, that they read the book. You know what I mean? So sure, abuse stories could be similar. That part confused me a little bit. And it was the last episode was sad because the lawyer was so committed to them that she because the first trial was a hung jury. So the second trial, Lyle's lawyer was like, look, you are all out of money and I'm not gonna be your lawyer through the second trial because I'm not gonna see you pro bono, but I'll try to find you a good public defender. And Eric's lawyer, one of the main characters in this show, she Miss Abramson, she defends Eric pro bono. So that's how committed that, she was to this case and believing their story. And I think the scary thing about all of this is, I don't know, it's just that what if as a lawyer you really believe in your client, you really believe in your story, you have to believe in your client's story, because how can you defend someone who committed a crime based on whatever reasons if you don't believe their story? I don't know, it just seems like you couldn't put your belief into it, and if your belief's not in it, it just almost seems like it ain't gonna work. But she really believed in her clients, and I think to myself, what if she was wrong? What if, what if, because we can be fooled, and that's the sad reality. We can be fooled. We can be fooled by people. We really, really can, and it could take us by surprise. Like, I would have never fucking guessed. Like, wow, they played me hard, So, and that could be scary, that you can never really tell, or that a person can trick you. They can be so convincing. Anyways, what are you gonna do? Except just keep moving forward. What else do I want to say about it? Yeah. So, yeah, they get separated, put in different prisons, and sentenced to life. And so, yeah, anyways, like I said, the show left me feeling like I didn't really know what was true, because they showed a different side of the parents in a way, because what happened was the state's attorney brought on witnesses that kind of talked about how Erik and Lyle, or mostly Lyle, I feel like, talked to his parents. They had witnesses that said, well, the way that they spoke to their parents was atrocious. They didn't seem afraid of their parents, In fact, they seemed like the domineering ones, So, excuse me. Yeah, you just don't know, I guess. And I'm not making any, like I said, I can't make any judgments really, because I never studied them. I never studied the case. This is just a Netflix show based upon a true story. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. It was a good show though. It was very good. And it was interesting because in the show, Lyle he's on the prison bus with his brother, and he's like, they're going to make a movie about us. They're going to make a movie. He was all excited because that personality, when they get excited about groupies, writing them in prison, about a book being written about them, a movie, they love that shit. Erik didn't seem too concerned with it, but we could be fooled by Erik too, because the people that usually you feel sorry for or kind of have your heart, I think that those are the people that can fool you the most. But people like Lyle, where it's kind of obvious, you're like, oh, he's kind of a sociopath. Look at him. He's excited about people writing books about him and a movie being made. He's proud of this, He's more obviously kind of sociopathic. And that won't really fool you because it's outside. It's obvious. It's the people that are not so obvious, they get you fucked up. They were like, oh, man, they had my heart. They had me feeling really empathic towards them, and that they'd be the ones, of course, because they had to be very convincing. They have to be able to capture your heart in that way. All right. that's all I have to say about it all. Peace.